Welcome to the SCO Buff Sports Live Show.
You know, Colby, I think this is our third show together.
Which is why I actually wanted to give you this, Balin.
Oh, wow. You're asking me to be your Valentine. You didn't even spell Valentine correctly.
Well, what do you say?
I'll think about it, but let's get into the live show. There's a lot of exciting news to talk about.
We start today's show with a huge upset from the lacrosse world as this past Monday, the Buffs lacrosse team shocked national champion runner-up Northwestern. Despite having home field advantage, the number 2 ranked Wildcats fell to Colorado in a 10-9 upset. Attacker Maddie Shoup helped lead the Buffs to this victory, scoring 5 of their 10 goals. Goalkeeper Elena O anchored the defense with 8 critical saves. Looking forward, the Buffs are back in action Sunday at noon on Kit Field, facing Cornell and streaming on ESPN+. 3 Buffaloes secured Big 12 Player of the Week honors following the upset. Senior attacker Maddie Shoup, senior defender Jess Peluso, and sophomore goalkeeper Elena O all received recognition from the conference.
The team looks to move to 2-0 against Cornell on Sunday. It's a Big Red season opener and Colorado's first game at home. The match will begin at noon and will take place on Kittredge Field.
Colorado women's basketball got their biggest win of the season yet. Desiree Wooten had 19 points and 6 assists, while Logan Greer had 17 points and 5 rebounds. However, Jade Masagayo was the star of the game. She drew and won to push Colorado to an 80-79 win over number 14th ranked TCU. Jake Chow has the latest from the incredible upset at the CU Event Center.
Colorado women's basketball ekes out a win against number 14 TCU here at the CU Event Center. I'm Jake Chow, and giving you the breakdown of this game. Jade Masagayo had 23 points, including the game-winning and one with 2.1 seconds left. Olivia Miles for TCU put down 31 points, but really, it was Colorado's aggressiveness. Coach J.R. Payne emphasized how aggressive her team was and how important it was down the stretch. Both of TCU's bigs, who are disrupting the paint presence of the Buffaloes, fouled out in the fourth quarter, which led Colorado to come back to a 80-79 win. Jade Masagayo, of course, 23 points. And then Desiree Wooten, Logan Greer, and Ziana Walker all contributing with double-digit point totals as well. Colorado's next game will be on the road at Houston. Tip-off set for 5:30 on ESPN+ this Wednesday. I'm Jake Chow for SCO Buff Sports.
Thank you, Jake. J.R. Payne's squad went from taking on one of the best teams in the Big 12 to one of the worst. On Wednesday, the Buffs traveled to H-Town to face the Houston Cougars. Colorado led most of the game, but couldn't win without dramatics. Back-to-back turnovers late put the Cougs back into striking distance within 6, but free throws and a steal pass to Jade Masagayo sealed the game late. The Buffs took a 73-63 victory for their second Big 12 road win. Masagayo had a 20-point game, fresh off an appearance on the Big 12's weekly starting 5.
What's up, Buff fans? Welcome back to this week's Buff Banner. I'm Xavier Minovitz alongside Lila Nuttall, and this week we'll be talking some women's hoops action as they're on the cusp of a March Madness berth. The Buffs, they took a couple good wins lately. They beat number 14 ranked TCU, lost to number 20 ranked West Virginia the game prior, but then got back on, but won against Houston as well, which is worst team in the Big 12, and they've kind of struggled on the road. Lila, what have you kind of seen in these past few games from the Buffs that can help propel to a March Madness berth?
Yeah, I think their consistency has been really showing these last few games. You know, they got that TCU win, huge for their resume, and then after struggling on the road for much of the season, they got a good win against Houston. And even their loss to West Virginia was pretty close.
Right. And so I think a big part of that consistency as well has been senior forward Jade Masagayo.
For sure.
Earlier this season, she was kind of struggling. She was averaging like 9 points through conference play. She's upped that to 12 points per game and had a couple 20-point games as of late. And if she's not scoring 20, she's getting pretty dang close. And so I think if Masagayo keeps playing that way, that the Buffs could have a pretty solid chance at making March Madness.
Yeah, she's been a strong leader for them, as seen in that TCU game there.
Yeah. And, with that consistency and with getting these wins, they have 5 games left on their schedule. What do you think are the most important wins for them going forward?
Texas Tech, that's going to be a big one. They're ranked number 16. Getting another ranked win on their resume will be huge for Selection Sunday. And then I think they got to keep that consistency on the road, especially their last game at BYU. If they can hold steady throughout this last stretch, that's going to be a good look.
Yeah, and they beat Houston, the worst team in the Big 12, on the road, and then they face Arizona for the second time this season, who's the second worst team in the Big 12. I think that they really got to hone in on that game, because I'm not too concerned about the home wins. Like, I think they can beat Texas Tech, and they should beat Texas Tech, and hopefully that'll be resume boosting. But you can't have a loss to Arizona and then beat Texas Tech, because in the committee's eyes, you're a home team and you can't win on the road, right?
Exactly. We know CU has great advantage on their home court, but they got to show that on the road for them to really stand out and get through that bubble there.
Yeah, 100%. That's it for this week's Buff Banner.
Yeah.
Quick one this week, but Buffs could be a March Madness team.
See what happens.
We'll see what happens. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Lila and Xavier. Last weekend, Tad Boyle's squad returned home to face the Arizona State Sun Devils. Colorado took a 78-70 victory, sweeping the Sun Devils this season. Our very own Liam Howard has more.
My name is Liam Howard with ScoBuff Sports, and I am here at the CU Event Center as the Colorado Buffaloes just defeated the Arizona State Sun Devils 78-70 to improve to a 14-10 record on the season. The Buffaloes had a great game from Sebastian Ranchik. It was his first career double-doubles. He recorded 17 points and 11 rebounds in the win. And alongside him, he had some help with Barrington Hargis' 23 points, and then Josiah Sanders' 6 very crucial rebounds. His physicality was on display tonight in all 6 of those rebounds, and then an incredible football-like interception of a pass down the court. It was a half-court pass from Arizona State. He leapt up, snatched it out of the air over an Arizona State guard, and it was an incredible play to have him come down with that. The physicality in general was on display for Colorado tonight, and that was something Tad Boyle was very proud of in his post-game press conference. For Arizona State, Mo Odom had an incredible game. They were not able to shut him down. He actually performed better than he did in Tempe in Colorado and Arizona State's last matchup from earlier in this season. And he had 23 points in the game, really did put this team on his back offensively, but his team was just not able to rally around him. Their rebounding struggled, especially on the offensive glass, and they were not able to give him enough possessions to will this game back. So the Buffaloes now go on the road for a very tough week. They will face 2 ranked teams in Texas Tech and BYU. Texas Tech will be the first of those 2 matchups on Wednesday. That game is set to tip off at 6 p.m. in Lubbock, and you can catch that on ESPN+. But I am Liam Howard with ScoBuff Sports, and you heard it here first. My name is Liam Howard.
Thank you, Liam. It was a tough trip to Lubbock for the Buffaloes as they fell to the Texas Tech Red Raiders 78-44. It was a low-scoring game for Colorado this season by 17 points. The Red Raiders were led by star forward J.T. Toppin's 14th double-double of the season, as he scored 16 points and hauled in 18 rebounds. Texas Tech also recorded 9 blocks in the game, tied for the second most in a single game in school history. The only 2 real bright spots for Colorado were freshman guards Isaiah Johnson and Ian Inman, who finished the night with 13 and 12 points respectively.
Colorado men's basketball looks to respond this week as the Buffs get set to take on number 22 BYU this Saturday as they search for consistency on both ends of the floor. Colorado enters as 13.5-point underdogs after a tough loss last time out. The challenge doesn't get easier against the BYU team, sitting at 18-6 and coming off a high-scoring win over Baylor. The Cougars are led by star freshman A.J. DiBonza, who exploded for 36 points and 7 assists in that win, showing why he's one of the most dangerous players in the nation. Expect a tough test as the Buffs look to steady themselves against one of the Big 12's top teams at 2 o'clock in Provo.
The men's teams aren't the only ones playing BYU on Saturday, as the women's will be hosting the Cougars around the same time. BYU is 17-8 and has a top half defense and offense. Delaney Gibb leads BYU scorers, averaging 16.2 points per game. The Cougars have a top 5 shooting defense in the conference, and both teams are on the bubble for March, so watch out for major bracket implications. Tip-off is tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the CU Event Center.
Women's hoops then hits the road to face the Arizona Wildcats. Last time out, the Buffs destroyed the Wildcats at home on New Year's Eve, 25-56. The Wildcats are the second worst team in the Big 12 with a conference record of 2-11. The Buffaloes will need to capture this crucial road win as they sit on the bubble of an NCAA tournament berth.
The Milan Cortina Winter Olympics are well underway over in Italy. Tripp is here to give us the latest from our Colorado alumni that are both representing the black and gold and trying to secure the gold.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to this week's Olympic recap. The Buffs are having a busy week this week. Starting off the week, former Buff Cassidy Gray had the start to her Olympics with the Alpine team combined event. This event combines one run of downhill skiing and one run of slalom. Gray competed in the downhill leg of the event for Canada's second team. Starting in 26th, she battled difficult lighting conditions to rise to 22nd with a time of 1:41.41. This put her only 4.82 seconds from the lead time. Tragedy struck for Gray's teammate Ali Nollenmeyer in the slalom portion of the competition, however, and the two were unable to post a final time. Gray also competed in the women's Super G event, where she sadly didn't finish. Things are looking up for Gray, as on Sunday she is scheduled to race in the giant slalom event, which is the event where, as a freshman Buff in 2021, she earned the NCAA title. Current Buff Hugo Hickenfuss competed in the classic sprint race, where he finished 42nd and sadly missed out on advancing to go to the next round of the competition. Former Buff Joanne Reed made her third Olympic debut this week, competing in the 15K biathlon. Reed started 70th, and with a great start moving her into 27th, it was looking promising. However, after some mistakes around the first and second shooting stages, she sadly dropped into the 60s, where she finished 68th. Reed's Olympics are not yet over, however, as she is also competing in the 7.5K sprint race on Saturday. In a great performance by former Buff Stacy Gaskill, a massive performance in snowboard cross event today, beating out her U.S. teammates. Gaskill had a tremendous opening to her second Olympic Games, finishing 13th in seeding, which advanced her to the elimination rounds. Sadly, however, she failed to make it out of the quarterfinal round and earned herself 4th place overall. Closing us out for this week's segment, we have Ryder Sarchet, who is going to be competing on Saturday in the men's giant slalom event. Good luck, Ryder, and that wraps up your Olympic recap for this week. As always, we wish good luck to all of our Olympic Buffs in their upcoming events.
The track and field team hosted the electric Colorado Classic last weekend. The biggest news from the event was junior Ty Cook, who ran the fastest 800 time in CU history. Now this weekend, the team is heading back to Boston for the David Henry Valentine Invitational. The men's events are underway as we speak, while the women are scheduled to compete tomorrow. Colorado is currently ranked 24th in the nation according to the USTF CCA. This comes after the team moved into first in the nation in the men's mile.
After having this past weekend off, the tennis team is currently in Minneapolis for a busy 3-game weekend. The team is wrapping up their match versus Alabama, who is undefeated on the year. They are currently losing, being outplayed in doubles play for the first time this year. No matter what happens against Alabama, the team will face the undefeated Minnesota team on Sunday, followed by St. Thomas. The Tommies are 2-1 on the season.
The women's golf squad finished 6th out of 15 teams in the Thunderbird Intercollegiate on Tuesday. The first 2 rounds of the tournament were played on Monday, with the Buffs sitting in a tie for 13th place after the first round. The black and gold continued to fight, finishing at even par in the second round. Colorado shot 8 over in the third round, finishing just outside of the top 5. Freshman Tima Patiton was the only Buffalo to finish under par. The Thailand native shot 1 under at the tournament. The Buffs will be back in action on February 23rd in Sacramento, California. Next up, the men's golfers began the spring portion of their season this Monday in La Quinta, California. The first round of the Prestige at PGA West will be played on Monday, with the second and third rounds on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. During the fall, the squad never finished outside the top 5 at any tournament, including 4 top 3 finishes. The team looks to continue their dominance heading into the Big 12 and NCAA championship.
Colorado men's D2 hockey are your Big Mountain Hockey Conference Tournament champions. CU beat the University of Wyoming 5-1 in the semifinals on Saturday before taking on the University of Denver in the final on Sunday. In a close game that came down to the wire, the Buffs held on to a 3-2 lead to raise the Tivoli Brewers barrel. Senior forward David Lefkis had a strong individual effort, scoring 2 unassisted goals in the final. The Buffs will now head to Salt Lake City for the ACHA West Regionals, where they enter as a number 7 seed. It's the first game of the tournament will be against the University of Montana on February 20th at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time.
In honor of CU winning the conference tournament in hockey, here is this week's trivia question. When was the last time the CU men's D2 team won the Big Mountain Hockey Conference? We'll let you think about it, and we will reveal the answer later in the show. Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is skull, Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The women's hockey team bounced back last week with 2 big dubs over Utah, officially clinching the playoffs this season. The Buffs are still in 4th place in the WWCHL, but only 2 points separate the top 4 teams in the conference. The WWCHL playoffs will be held in Boulder next weekend, where the Buffs will try to make the conference title. The final home game of the regular season is tonight at 5 against Denver, and it's senior night, so make sure to tune in right here on Sko Buff Sports right after the show.
Men's D1 hockey is coming off of its most successful weekend this season after a sweep against the University of San Diego. The Buffs dominated the Aztecs, scoring 7 goals in both games they played. CU desperately needed this win, with it being the team's first since December 6th and its first sweep all season. In the Western Collegiate Hockey League, the Buffs are now 9th out of 11 teams. For their final series of the year, CU faces off against Colorado State in the Rocky Mountain Showdown on February 20th and 21st.
In other news, the club's softball team released their schedule this week. The team will face the Air Force Falcons in the beginning of March. ScoBuff Sports is proud to reveal that this YouTube channel right here will become the home for Colorado softball games in Boulder. As we get closer to their home series against Air Force, you can catch game coverage right here on YouTube and on our social media. Headed into April, the team will play against Colorado Mesa. Towards the later half of the month, the team will finish their series at the regional playoffs in Kansas.
The Super Bowl might have been a boring game, but a former Buff got a ring in the process. Former tight end and captain Brady Russell was among the Seahawks to lift the Lombardi on Sunday. Russell served the Seahawks special teams captain as a unit that had to set a Super Bowl record with 5 field goals. Russell is the first Buffalo to win a Super Bowl since 2016.
Good morning.
Hey, Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. A hockey-heavy weekend it was, so we're diving right in with number 5 this week. It's women's hockey starting out against Utah, going up. Hockey fights cancer tonight. Mia Fischelli goes down, but she makes it back to her skates. Plays it back to Natalie Ewald, and she scores! Ladies and gentlemen, play of the year. A trip up on Fischelli, that dynamic duo, making things happen. Number 4, it's men's D1 hockey. Look out, it's Cam Pickett coming down the slot. Fires, as was right, and he shoots and scores! That's a hat trick for the senior assistant captain on senior night. What a game against the Aztecs of San Diego State. Number 3, now we go to men's D2 hockey. All the teams getting in on the action this weekend. It's Josh Janine going right down the slot, loses the puck, but it's tipped in by Brick Fisher in the BMHC playoffs round 2 against the Wyoming Cowboys right here at home. What a play. Number 2 now, it's the only basketball play this week. It's Jade Masagayo on women's hoops, driving in, goes in for the layup, and that's the game winner, ladies and gentlemen. The game is tied at 79 against TCU. And here's a foul shot coming, and she'll launch, and it's up! Game winner, +1, and Brick City for Olivia Miles. My goodness, what an upset for Colorado against number 14, TCU, right here in Boulder. Number 1, let's send you down to Paxton Haynes.
Brent gets in, keeps it in. Brent just slips over herself. Shot, save made by Shira Wine. Shira Wine, who joking me, it doesn't go in. Second chance, third chance for Utah. Shira Wine, brick wall. Oh my goodness, are you joking me? That's the save of the season.
Need I say more? That's going to do it for this week's Plays of the Week here on ScoBuff Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
What's going on, Buffs fans? Got a big weekend of games for you this weekend. I'm Paxton Haynes, bringing you to them in rapid fire. Starting off tonight, we've got the Colorado women's team in hockey playing the Denver Pioneers on senior night. I'm calling that game. Going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in right after the show. Then tonight, huge playoff game for the men's D2 team. They play the Montana Grizzlies out in the West region in the regionals for Salt Lake City. That game is at 7:30 p.m. Then taking it over across the Atlantic Ocean into Italy, it is Ryder Sarce. He competes on Saturday in the giant slalom. Should be good for him in his first Olympics. And then finishing off, lacrosse coming off that huge win over Northwestern to open up their season. They're finally home to start it off. They'll be at Kittredge Field on Sunday at noon, taking on the Cornell Big Red. Should be a good weekend, Bus fans. Make sure you tune in. I'm Paxton Haynes. Thanks for watching Rapid Fire. Back to you guys at the desk.
And now the answer to our trivia question. Remember, we asked, when was the last time the CU men's D2 hockey team won the BMHC? Drum roll, please. The answer is the 2017-18 season. That was the very first year of the BMHC tournament, and now they've done it again.
Man, Balin, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that there's a lot for couples to do this Valentine's weekend.
Yeah, there is. You can make a trip out to the CU Event Center and watch some basketball. The possibilities are endless.
Speaking of which, have you thought about my Valentine?
That's all the time we have. You're watching ScoBuff Sports, and remember,
you heard it here first.